That means trivalent understanding noetics time. Getting in tune. This is the third class. And as the third class commences, we're going to revert back to what we normally do. Our normal sessions start with a quick review of the last class, and then we move on into the next class. The last class was about frequencies and about the different types of frequencies that affect your being, that affect how your spirit, mind, and body coordinate their functioning. Some frequencies are enabling, some frequencies are disabling. And we talked about the primary disabling frequencies for human beings as being emotional frequencies. The frequencies of different emotions can be very, very disabling or enabling. Primary disabling frequencies are fear, guilt, shame, and hate. Last time, we talked about guilt, shame. And we gave a real good rendition of guilt, shame, didn't we? Yep. Now, today, we're going to go through the other two, fear and hate. But before we do that, we're going to do the preamble to the affirmations of the wounded soul. Everybody, head up at 45 degrees. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Another deep breath in. Let out more than you took in. Last cleansing breath in and out. Now, visualize these images as you repeat after me. I will live in the light.
I will live in the light.
Warmed by truth and embraced by grace.
Warmed by truth and embraced by grace.
I will remain a defender of the symbols of life.
I will remain a defender of the symbols of life.
I will eliminate evil.
I will eliminate evil.
Evil is the shadow of lies
Evil is a shadow of lies
that seeks to blot the illumination of the human spirit.
that seeks to blot the illumination of the human spirit.
Evil cannot grow in my life
Evil cannot grow in my life
unless it is cultivated by hate,
unless it is cultivated by hate,
watered by the clouds of guilt and shame,
watered by the clouds of guilt and shame,
and fertilized by the fetid fowl.
and fertilized by the fetid fowl,
Failed fruits of fear,
failed fruits of fear,
such as envy,
such as envy,
greed,
greed,
jealousy,
jealousy,
fear of lack,
fear of lack,
fear of truth,
fear of truth,
fear of pain,
fear of pain,
fear of death,
fear of death,
or the worst fear of all,
or the worst fear of all,
fear of fear itself.
fear of fear itself.
As I eliminate
As I eliminate
fear,
fear,
guilt, shame,
guilt, shame,
and hate,
and hate,
the light of my spirit will grow brighter and brighter,
the light of my spirit will grow brighter and brighter,
unconsciously giving permission
unconsciously giving permission
for all around me
for all around me
to do the same.
to do the same.
Ashe.
Ashe.
That is the affirmation. Thank you. Oh, we're going to have some really good times today. Especially once the class is over. I got some stuff. Okay. We talked last time about guilt and shame. Guilt is when I listen to me, and we discuss what those mean, describe the wrong things I've done. Shame is the emotion I feel when I, my ego, listens to me, describe the wrong things I am. And we discussed the antidote for guilt and shame as faith and grace. Now let's get to the much more commonly used disabling influence, known as fear. I wrote an article many years ago called Instilling Fear in a Culture and Society. That was for African American Lifestyle magazine. And it went through the fact that fear as an emotion is meant to be both a warning and a guide. A warning for danger and a guide to enable you to avail yourself of those things that will avert the danger. But unfortunately, over the last 2,000 years, people in control of civilizations and cultures have been using that to control people, because they realized some time ago that when you are in fear, your mind doesn't work. When you are fearful, your normal mind's ability to compare, to evaluate, to logically assess, to do any of the things that a mind normally does stops. And they recognize that. Oh my God, if I can get people fearful, I can make them do crazy, totally and completely illogical things. All I have to do is first instill fear in them and then get them to believe that I can take away the fear that I instilled. Lion 45 is doing a really great job of that right now as president of this country. He has instilled fear that he's told everybody only he can take away, and now people are forgetting the fact that this man has lied almost 5,000 times since he has been inaugurated as president, and that most of the things that come out of his mouth are not only not true, they're easily proven to be not true. But he's not by himself, and he's not the problem. He's a symptom of the problem. What is a problem are the people who support him, the people who believe him, a proven liar, the people who voted for him, a man who has failed at everything he has attempted. But again, he's not the problem, he's a symptom, because this problem goes back about almost exactly 2,000 years to when Europe first started rising as a war power. And they realized that, as I said, you get people to be frightened and you can control them. So they went about the practice of making people fearful. Now, they had a huge aid in the form of the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church was based and founded on guilt and shame. But its major weapon was fear. You had to be fearful, not only for what would happen to you here, and they would make damn sure a lot of awful things happen to you here, but after you died, you still had to be fearful. They made a great living selling fear, and I mean that sincerely. They would sell it, and people would buy protection from fear called indulgences. This is the thing that started Martin Luther King's 59 Theses that he placed on the door of the church that initiated the Protestant Reformation. But fear was used in so many different ways, and it is part of the culture we inhabit now, that it got to be not even recognized as fear. Only when they had some specific problems with specific people did they result in calling fear fear. They would call it a whole bunch of other things. Guilt. And other things like that. But let's get a little bit more deeper in the affirmation, and then we'll come back to this definition of fear. The affirmation says, I will eliminate fear. Fear. I forgot the affirmation. Hold on one second. I know, I will eliminate fear.
Fear is the mind crusher.
Oh, God. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it. My wife. I cannot make this happen without my wife, without my family. I will eliminate fear. Fear is the mind crusher. Fear assassinates courage and throws wisdom and reason into the abyss. Fear anesthetizes the mind and then amputates the mind from the spirit and body. Let's go over those briefly. Fear is the mind crusher. As I stated before, under the influence of fear, your mind doesn't function. It doesn't think, it doesn't reason, it's stuck in a cycle of reliving this fear. Now, this fear is never about something that's going to happen right now. That's not fear. Fear is always about something that is going to happen, that might happen, that would happen, that could happen. And that stops your mind from reasoning, comparing, organizing, and all the things that your mind does. All it does is perseverate on the fear. Fear assassinates courage. Oh, God. Yeah. Kills it dead. And throws reason and wisdom into the abyss. Abyss, big, deep, deep, bottomless pit. And that's where reason and logic and wisdom all go under the influence of fear. No, I can't be wise. I can't think reasonably. No, all that stuff goes out the window. How does it do that? Fear anesthetizes your mind. Just like any anesthetic drug, under the influence of that, it goes to sleep. And your mind's functional ability goes to sleep. But then it amputates the mind from the spirit and the body. You ever had an experience when you were so scared you were trying to run and you couldn't move? Your body don't work real good when you're under fear, does it? Mm-mm. It kind of disconnects your body from your mind. And your mind saying, run, get the hell out, and your body just, what, huh? Where you going? Amputates it. But it also amputates it from the spirit. Your spirit's primary job is to motivate and to give your mind and body things to do. It does that primarily by producing images of those things you want to do, or you need to do, or things you need to attend to. Fear hits you, none of that occurs. You don't get no images of things that you need to do, things that you need to attend to. All you get images of is the thing that you're fearing. The thing that could happen, might happen, would happen in this future. That's the only image that plays through your spirit. Okay. I will eliminate fear by practicing the habits of agape love. Agape is that selfless, unconditional love that is God's greatest gift to mankind, even though it is more abundant in womankind. Let's go back to fear. Females have a natural antidote to fear. It's called agape. Men don't have it. Men are more fearful than females. Period. Doesn't matter who the man is, doesn't matter where the man is. Every man is more fearful than every female. Why? Because females naturally have stores of agape. Agape is that selfless, unconditional love that flows from a female toward their children. And it doesn't have to be a female human. It could be a female dog, a female roach, a female anything. Because agape is that love that flows from a mother to a child. Not father, mother to a child. Agape is that love that flows from a creator to her/his/its creation. Agape is that love that flows when one realizes they are responsible for bringing another into and keeping them in this reality. We've all heard stories about a mother chicken attacking a hawk that's threatening her chicks, or a mother dog jumping on a wolf that's threatening her pups, or a human mother attacking a bear that is in the process of threatening her children. In each and every one of those cases, there is absolutely no fear in that female. Period. Goes out the window. Why? Because agape takes over. Now, females naturally have agape, and they have it more than men. As a result, men are more fearful. And they do more things to assuage their own fear because of it. Men practice war. That is the ultimate response to their own fears. But men are forever fearing something. Here in Cleveland, we had the Republican National Convention. I don't want this to get political, but everybody who came on that stage talked for about 15 to 20 minutes about something to fear. You got to fear the immigrants. You got to fear prices. You got to fear the Democrats. You got to fear people who don't look like you. You got to fear everything. You got to fear females. Everybody came on the stage, and that is a constant message. What you got to fear? Why you got to fear it? We're the only one that can stop you from the fear. If you don't do what we say, that you fear is going to happen. But again, this is old as pink civilization. Let's revert back to the Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church had a problem with females. They have always had a problem with females. They had a first problem with the female named Mary Magdalene. Remember her? Had a big problem with her when they were trying to write the Bible. Council of Nicaea, 625 AD. Had lots and lots and lots and lots of books of the Bible and lots of things that talked about Mary Magdalene. She was the lead disciple. Council of Nicaea, and the bishop said, no, we ain't putting none of that in the Bible. We don't want women to be thought of like that. Not my opinion. This is history. So they went on because at that time females had absolutely no rights. Females belonged to someone. They were a possession, like your wallet or your house or your horse. A female belonged to her father, who could beat her, rape her, and do anything he wanted to with her until she was married. And then she belonged to her husband. She could not own property, she could not inherit, she could not vote, and the husband was obliged by law to beat her with a stick no thicker than his thumb. But around about 12th, 13th century, right in there sometime, called the Middle Ages, females started getting together. Females have this tendency to do something called consensual validation, in which females will bounce what their experience is off other females and then take that from a lot of females and make a decision on their situation based on all the other female inputs. That's called consensual validation. Females do that lots more than males. Females back in the Middle Ages started getting together for things like sewing circles, knitting circles, and stuff like that, and they started talking. And they started realizing that the situation that they were in was oppressive. Duh, what's new? their pink mates, fathers, brothers, and everybody else that was male was oppressing them. Again, what's new? And they started to make up some means and ways through this contextual validation to address that. This very soon got back to the Roman Catholic Church. And the Roman Catholic Church decided we need to fear God in these women. So they started something called the Inquisition. And the Inquisition was about putting fear back in females. Let me pull out your tongue. Let me shove some red hot skewers under your nails. Let me crush your feet. Let me draw you and quarter you. Let me cut you, pull your insides out while you're alive through your stomach as I'm slowly strangling you. Or better yet, just let me burn you alive. They talk about all the barbaric things that, quote, savage people did. Ain't nothing been more savage than Europeans, especially when they were trying to inflict fear on a people. They killed hundreds of thousands right on to millions of people. Do you know what percentage of them were female? About 99. Other than the Jews they tortured, which they did a whole bunch of that, almost all of the victims of the Inquisition were female. And you didn't have to be guilty of anything. All you had to do was be accused. If somebody didn't like you, they would accuse you. And now you were being tortured. It didn't take long, about 50, 75 years of that, before females fell back and got right back to where the Roman Catholic Church and pink males wanted them as a possession. And they stayed that way until about 75 years ago. Use of fear. But the use of fear got so widespread that we actually started taking fear as recreation. We started liking to be scared. And go to horror movies. Ah! And be scared. We even invented places where the only reason to go there was to be scared by different means. We call them amusement parks. And we go there to be scared. We go there to go on these rides and to go into these places to be scared. To enjoy fear. Now, other than the fact that that's really stupid, what it does is bend your natural instincts and reflexes to danger so that they don't function too well. So now when you feel that fear, is it something you need to do? You don't know. Do you need to run? You don't know. Is it just you being scared? Or is there a reason that you need to be scared and to take measures for that reason? Gets hard to tell, don't it? When we're trying constantly to feel that emotion, fear. That stops you from functioning. Okay. Agape allows me to understand that I don't have to go through fear. Now, to actually use agape, what I suggest doing and what I do every day is visualize myself as a female. I visualize myself first as a female rodent. I am a mouse in a burrow, and there's a snake coming into that burrow to threaten my young, and I'm attacking the hell out of that snake. Then I imagine myself as a herbivore, a deer, and my fawn is being threatened by a pack of wolves, and I'm going to gore those wolves to death. Then I envision myself as a small predator like a leopard or something like that. And my young are being threatened by a larger predator, a lion. and I feel what that feels like. In every instance, the point is to feel that feeling of agape. I lastly envision myself as a blue whale, which I believe is the smartest animal on this planet, much smarter than us. And my young is being threatened by a killer whale. Now, for men, I suggest doing that and something else called God's eye view. Something tells me we practice God's eye view. Okay, we did. All right. Then I will move on past that. God's eye view is taking your imagination and getting it out of your body. And seeing yourself first from the top of the room, then the top of the building, then the tree level, then the cloud level, and as you experienced last week. As you do this, no matter what thing you are feeling that's making you fearful, as soon as you do that, fear goes away. Because fear is attached to this body. And once you take your spirit out of this body, there is no more fear. This also gives you practice in taking your spirit places. Because we're going to be doing that. We're going to be going places. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to go into hate. Okay. Hate is a flame that consumes my humanity, and the humanity of anyone I direct hate at. Hate is a twisted lens that warps all reality. I want to say that 6 times. Reality, reality, reality. Now everybody else is smiling. My wife and my daughter are smiling because they know this comes from the song Stop the Hate that we wrote for the Maltz Museum of Jewish Heritage. And they smile because they know that the next line is theirs. On the song, they sing the next line. I will extinguish the fires of hate with the cooling, soothing waters of filial love. Filial love is brotherly love. It's a love that exists when you realize that you're related to another through a permanent, unbreakable bond to a larger, stronger, more important group. Family, gang, culture, race, as a sample of humanity or an example of life itself. We are all related. Let me quickly run through that. And now that I'm running through that, we did this too last week. Because I remember I sang the song. Well, I ain't gonna sing the song this time. I'm gonna do that. Don't be doing that, because we're gonna bring something else in. Okay. Brothers and sisters, cousins, nieces and nephews can disappoint you, can make you angry, can piss you off. You never hate them. And you don't hate them because they're part of your family. You both share this bond to this group that is more important than either one of you individually. That bond is the thing that makes you family. But that same bond, called a filial bond, that's why Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. That filial bond extends to groups outside of your family. I made note of the fact that a gang is a group that has filial bonds. Because a group that is larger and more important than you, that you have an association with, you have filial love for the members of that group. And unfortunately, most people who join a gang for that type of relationship. They join a gang because they can't find that relationship in their friends and family, where they feel part of something bigger and better than themselves. But humanity is a larger group that we are all a part of. And whenever you can reach that filial love through humanity, it's impossible to hate another human being. Further still, especially for me, I am related to all things that are alive. And all things that are alive are part of the same group that I am a part of. I don't hate anything that's alive. Filial love allows me to understand that I am a part of all life. Filial love allows me to know that all life is a part of me. All of the elements that make me up are the same things that make up all life. And we were all made, or at least all the elements were made, in the heart of a son. Filial love allows me to correct the Hollies. And that's when I sang this song. The Hollies were a group that sang this song called He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. And I can correct the Hollies and suggest to them that even if he is heavy, he's still my brother. I can love a being and yet disdain and abhor their images, their thoughts, and their actions. I can dislike all of that and still love the individual who has all of those things. As I said before, Lion 45, I don't hate him. I disdain and abhor every image that's in his spirit, every thought that goes through his mind, and every action he has taken. I don't hate him. That would be a waste of my energy, and that would be misdirecting my emotions. Can't do that. Now, do we have a song called Stop the Hate?
Okay.
You got it?
I got the video.
You got the video. Okay. Could you do me a favor, please, ma'am? And could you do me a favor, please, ma'am? Please. Hit the video. That's why I wanted to get the glare off of it, so it would be no glare. I want you to watch this video.
Hate is a flame that consumes my humanity, and the humanity of anyone under it hate that. Hate is a twisted lens that warps all reality.
I will extinguish the fire of hate with the cooling, soothing waters of filial love.
Filial love is brotherly love. It is the love that exists when you realize that you're related to another through a permanent, unbreakable bond, through a stronger, larger, more important group. Family, gang, culture, race, as a sample of humanity, or an example of life itself. We are all related.
Yeah. How much you the filler? And we gon' stop the hate. Yeah. 1, 2. Look, it's time to man up, stand up, face up, hands up. Misleading all the children with your fears. We understand, bruh. Society made you this way. That's how you shift the blame, huh? I get it. It's probably just the way that you was raised up. But this time is different. Time to give that grace up to yourself for the most high and be the one to spread love. An example for the next generation. That's what you also stop all the hate. Cause it's time for us to play our part. What part they ask every time the feel they hit the stage. So you know my step, I'm always promoting that stop the hate. Stop the hate. No procrastination, no debating. That's how I'm feeling. So listen, pay attention. No, I ain't preaching. Education got me on them teachings, got me on them healing. Enabling every last one of my siblings. We all from God. It's time to build so we can beat the odds. Start the love, stop the hate so we can rise above. It can kill your body and soul. It can turn your heart to cold. Every day you go through, yo, you must grow. So you'll be able to stop the hate and make the world a better place for all the future race. Did you know that you can start P said, boy, I got a feeling that the world needs some lyrical spiritual healing for the people to love and not hate it or fear it. Now please bless me with the talents to reach the spirit so I can penetrate the mind and all its egotistics. They help me listen more and I only just hear it, cause I know we all equal and we're all inherit all the blessings of life if we only live it. Let's fill up the world with some better places. Might as well get it in for the future races. Wouldn't it feel so good being a generation to inspire peace upon the future nations? Imagine eliminating all the petty hatred and getting back to the basics, yeah, where the faith is. But first, stop the hate. It can kill your body and soul. Stop the hate. It can turn your heart to cold. Let the hate go through, yo, you must grow. So you'll be able to stop the hate to make the world a better place. Stop the hate for all the future rays. Did you know that you can start today?
Oh, gee, Sangster.
Let me holler at my third eye world close with precision and painting perfect pictures of new dimensions in your vision so everybody can see the vision. Pay close attention to verbal conversations that's getting heated all across the nation. We got the power to focus on the decision. Spoken to politicians, speaking out loud throughout the competition. The world been ready for change, ain't no escape from the stain. But from the shackles and chains that they forgot to mention. We overcame every obstacle that was laid. Prophesied through the greater documentation of our Dr. King. He had a dream that we all came to the bold. I've been 40 years since the start. I think it's time to let your voices ring. Pick up your voice and let freedom ring through the notes. Everybody can vote and take a stand on what we all believe. The time has come to be brave. Stand by the king in his grave. Embrace the road that was paved and let your conscience breathe. Although the man gave his life just like our Lord Jesus Christ, all to be bought with a price they didn't have to pay. The crucifixion with death, child and submission. The world still wouldn't listen. And you wonder why we need to pray.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
That was Stop the Hate. Humble G the Fiddler, OG Sangster, my wife, my daughter, me. Produced and engineered by Mick Beats, Global Entertainment. Okay, that is the affirmations of the wounded soul. You should do them every day. Because when you do them, fear, guilt, shame, and hate not only are stopped and to some degree prevented, they're actually removed from your spirit. And that removal is something that we all need, though we do not recognize it. How many times a day do you think you're assaulted by fear? All day. Guilt, shame, all day. Hate, yeah, same thing. Unfortunately, working for Coach Sam Retigliano's Aiming Higher program, I have had to stop my children many, many, many times saying, I hate this, I hate that, I hate her, I hate him. It's what they're taught. We could go on through that for some extended period of time, but we're not going to do that. Do it every day. We will come back to it several times. Right now, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to something that's going to change how you function in 133 seconds. Not minutes, not days, seconds. Because we're going to now give you something that's going to make your body function better. And it's going to make your body function better in 133 seconds. This is called vector augmentation. Vector augmentation is a technique that uses the principles of organic chemistry, believe it or not, to change how your body functions. And you will feel the change in 133 seconds. First, I got to give you 15 minutes of introduction so that what I'm teaching you and what you're going to be doing makes sense to you. Believe it or not, you have an enemy. All human beings have an enemy. And we have that enemy because we do something that no other animal on the planet does. And you know what that is? This. We stand up on two legs and walk. It's called bipedal locomotion. We are the only animals on this planet that do that. Our closest kin, the great apes, only spend a very, very small amount of their time upward on two legs. Most of their time is spent on all fours. I'm talking specifically about chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, and stuff like that. But because we stand upright, we have an enemy, and that enemy is gravity. Gravity has many, many effects on our body, and we're going to be talking about a lot of them, but one of the major effects gravity has on your body is on your circulation. Because every time your heart pumps blood down to 93.7% of your body. This is the only portion of your body your heart doesn't pump blood down to. And as that blood goes down, it's got to go all the way down, turn around, and come back up to your heart against gravity. And there ain't no heart down there pumping that blood back up. It gets back up through a system of valves within the veins that are called one-way valves, because they operate kind of like my thumbs. When blood pushes against the bottom of the valves open up. When gravity pulls that blood back down, it hits the top of the valves and the valves close. You got a set of valves here, you got a set of valves here, you got a set of valves here, so that blood kind of ratchets its way back up to your heart. Now, it's no way that that system of ratcheting blood up against gravity is going to be as effective as your heart is at pumping blood down with gravity. So as you go through the day, more and more of the blood that your heart pumps down stays down. And those veins get fuller and fuller and fuller. Funny thing happens. Remember that one-way valve system we're talking about? The valve leaflets no longer meet. So even that ineffective way of bringing blood back up against gravity stops being as effective. You get into problems with clots in your veins, varicose veins, broken veins, all sorts of problems like that that can lead to strokes, pulmonary embolisms, and a whole bunch of other things. But long before any of that happens, some other changes go on in your body that are much, much more important for you. As blood accumulates in your veins, this accumulation of blood in your veins causes blood leaving your capillaries going into your veins to slow down because there's no more room over there. All of the increased accumulation of blood in the veins has caused an increase of pressure in the veins, and that increase of pressure has caused blood going in your veins to slow down. Now, I've talked to you about your heart pumping blood down to your cells. I've talked to you about the veins taking the blood that your heart has pumped down to your cells back up to your heart. What I haven't talked about is the most important blood vessels in your body, called capillaries. Capillaries are the place where 99.9999, hold on, 9999% of the cells of your body get their oxygen and nutrients and throw their waste into. The only cells in your body that don't get their oxygen and nutrients from capillaries are your nails and your hair. Your hair. I used it, but that's another story. Those are the only cells in your body that don't draw their oxygen and nutrients from capillaries. Every other cell in your body, the heart pumps blood down, it goes through the arteries, little smaller and smaller arteries till it gets to what's called end arterioles, and then it goes into capillaries. Capillaries are as thick as a human hair, and they wind all around all the cells of your body. When the blood gets to the capillaries, the oxygen and nutrients go out of the capillaries into the cells, and the waste from the cells leave the cells and go into the capillaries. That waste is then taken by the capillaries on over to the veins, the smallest veins called venules. Now, as I said before, as you go through the day, the effects of gravity cause this increased pressure in your veins that causes blood in the capillaries to go real slow. As the blood in the capillaries go real slow, there's a signal sent to every cell in your body, and that signal is, slow down! Every cell in your body is told to slow down their functioning. If this is a muscle cell, it's told to slow down contraction. If this is a nerve cell, it's told to slow down transmitting impulses. If this is a secretory cell, it's told to slow down making secretions, because the effects of gravity on your veins has made blood transfer through your capillaries so low that we cannot get rid of the waste that you would be making if you worked at your normal rate of speed. Now, if you slow down and don't work at what you can do, we might be able to take care of the waste that these cells are going to produce. Now, let me back up a second and go forward. Believe it or not, everything I'm going to tell you and I've already told you, you already know. You don't understand it, but you already know it. Again, knowing is emotional, spiritual. You feel what you know. You don't understand it. You can't think about it. You can't make pictures of it real good now. But that's why I'm giving you this lecture, so you can make pictures of what goes on in your body. One last thing, and then we talk about solutions, because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on problems. I want to spend most of the time on solutions. One of the problems that I discovered as a very, very young physician when I was still in Lexington, Kentucky, was a referral from the Sanford Brown Research Center on Aging in Lexington, Kentucky, right around the corner from where I lived on Rose Street. And the Sanford Brown Research Center on Aging said that aging was a concomitant of circulatory disabilities, the nature of which have yet to be elucidated. Now, all that expensive talk simply means you age because of something going on with your circulation and we don't know what it is. I know what it is. It's the effect of gravity on your circulation. Because the effect of gravity on your circulation slows this capillary blood flow down, and this slow capillary blood flow makes your cells hold on to its waste. Because the waste it dumped out there a couple of minutes ago is still there because the capillary blood flow is so slow. So there is no room for it to dump new waste, so it holds on to waste. It actually wraps it up in a piece of cellophane inside your cell that's called a vacuole. But it is damage from your cells holding on to this waste that causes your cells to age. It is the damage from your cells holding on to this waste that is holding on to because of the effects of gravity on your circulation to injure intracellular organelles and other parts of your cell on the inside that now you got to repair it. And that causes these cells to age. Any questions? Okay, good. Because we have talked about all the problems. Let's now talk about solutions. What do you think would be the effect of a technique that rapidly, repeatedly, and sequentially emptied your veins? Now, hold on. This is what I'm talking about. What do you think would happen if I empty the veins, let the capillaries fill them up, empty the veins, let the capillaries fill them up, empty the veins, let the capillaries fill them up, empty the veins, let the capillaries fill them up? She's been listening. She's been listening. She understands, absolutely. What happens is when you rapidly, repeatedly, and sequentially empty the veins, you augment the blood flow. Your capillary blood flow now picks up and it starts flowing a lot faster. Your cells are now getting delivered more oxygen and nutrients, but more importantly, and what you focused on, you can now get rid of your cellular waste at an advanced rate. And when that happens, you get another signal through hormones and other chemical mediators that goes throughout your whole body. And that new signal is speed up! Because now the problem with stagnation in your veins due to the effects of gravity has been resolved. Now you got a lot of blood flow moving through your capillaries, and now that muscle cell can contract a whole lot faster and a whole lot harder. Now that nerve cell can conduct impulses a whole lot better. Now that secretory cell can make secretions a whole lot more effectively, because you now have the circulatory ability to take care of the waste that they're going to be producing. In addition to which, removing that intracellular waste causes your cells to age slower. That's why I look like this at 70. That's why my wife looks like that. We're approaching 65. Yeah. That's one of the effects of what's called vector augmentation. Now, what I've described to you is vector augmentation. What I'm going to demonstrate to you right now is a specific use of that technique called maintenance vector augmentation. Because as I told you before, you know all this stuff. You don't understand it, but you know it. Maintenance vector augmentation's job is to maintain your circulation the way it is when you first get up in the morning. As you go through the day, the effects of gravity and standing upright and walking causes this accumulation of blood in your veins. And this slow accumulation leads to that slow down signal I told you about. You know that slow down signal as being tired. Tired has nothing to do with exertion. It's the effects of gravity on your circulation. I haven't been tired in 15 going on 20 years, period, at all, ever. Why? Because twice a day I do maintenance vector augmentation. At about noon, I get rid of the blood that's clogging up my veins, and it started clogging up since I got up that morning. And again, about 4 or 5 in the evening, I do the same thing to get rid of the blood that has accumulated since I did it at noon. As a result, my blood flow is always just like it is when I first get up in the morning. And I feel it. I'm running 5 companies. I'm consulting on 3 more. And I got projects going on all over the world constantly. And when people understand what I do, their most common question is, how can you do that? Techniques of the trivalent understanding. And specifically, one of the major ones is vector augmentation. Anytime I start feeling a little not quite sharp as I normally, quick vector, and boom, I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But again, you know these things. You know that it takes a hell of a lot more effort to climb those stairs at 5 o'clock than it did at 8 o'clock that morning. You know that your shoes feel a whole lot tighter and your feet feel a whole lot heavier at 6 p.m. than they did at 10 a.m. You know that after a long day standing up on your feet, one of the major things you can do is sit your butt down someplace and put your feet up. You don't understand that what you're trying to do is reverse the effects of gravity on your circulation, but you know it feels better, don't it? Why do you think you lie down at night when you go to sleep? All of these things are things that we know feel better, we just don't understand why. Once you understand why and the techniques of vector augmentation, you can reverse those effects, and we're going to do that right now, if that's okay with you. Is that okay with you? Good. Would you please have a seat right here, please, ma'am? Demonstrator pose. Ha ha. Now, The first thing I've got to do is to make sure you don't have any active venous disease. Now I do that by doing what's called a Homan sign. Does that hurt? That's a Homan sign. Relax your foot, relax your ankle. Does that hurt? No. No? Okay. Negative Homan sign. You got one up there too. Does that hurt?
No.
Okay. Relax your ankle. Does that hurt?
No.
Good. Then you have negative Omen sign. Now just to make sure, what I'm going to do is feel to make sure there's no area of tenderness, no areas of hardness that we call cords, and no other things like increased temperature or increased fragility that would indicate you have active venous disease, and no, you do not. Now, hold on, stop. I want you to tell me, is there one side that's worse than any other? You got a bad leg or bad foot? This one, right?
The left
That
one.
one, okay, then that's one I want to do. I want to do you bad.
Okay.
Okay, what I'm going to do is vector augmentation. I'm actually going to be trying to empty your veins. Now, your veins are right there. They're right on the surface of your skin. They're the most superficial portion of your circulation. I can hold that vein right there, and I just emptied it, right? It's gone. Now, right? Blink. As soon as I took that off, it filled back up again. What I'm going to be doing is emptying specific veins in a specific order. It's going to look like I'm just rubbing your feet. No, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm actually doing is using two surgical techniques. I'm using one called traction and one called counter traction to push the blood in the veins back up to your heart. It's aiding them in getting rid of all of this gravity-induced stagnation. I'm also going to be visualizing with my spirit me emptying those veins. Okay. Now, this is traction. This is counter traction. If I just use the traction, your whole toe moves. I don't want your whole toe to move. I want the blood inside of it to move, so I stabilize that toe. Each toe gets vectored. And then the space between the toes gets vectored, because your blood vessels are not on the ventral and dorsal surfaces of your digits. Believe it or not, all your blood vessels are interdigital. They're between the toes or between the fingers. So, rubbing them back and visualizing that blood leaving, that's putting my spirit to work in getting this accomplished. Okay, once all the toes and between the toes have been done, top of the foot. And again, traction, counter traction. Then, bottom of the foot in 2 dimensions. Foot by itself, relax your foot, relax it. You don't want to tense it up. You want it to be nice and soft so that the blood can move through those muscles. Then the heel all by itself. Down, squeeze, up. Down, squeeze, up. I'm going to say the next thing I'm going to say twice, because it's twice as important as anything I've told you so far. Other than your heart, your heel is the most important part of your circulation. I'll say it again. Other than your heart, your heel is the most important part of your circulation. Now, why do I say that? I told you about an enemy that you have. What was that enemy?
Gravity.
Ha! She remembered. Yes, gravity is your enemy. Gravity attacks your body right here. Your whole body weight sits on your heel. All of this is just for balance. All of your weight sits right here, and this is where gravity attacks your body at. There is another thing. Well, before we get to the other thing, this is the last section of maintenance vector augmentation. It's long strokes up the calf to at least the knee. Now, 2 things you don't do. You don't press on this, and you don't leave big gaps like this. This is a chin-ya point, and I can get you unconscious in about 20 seconds by pressing right here.
Okay.
I don't want to do that.
Thank
You don't want to be unconscious.
Thank
You're welcome. So, if you put your hands around it like this, you can't press on it.
Okay.
Put your hands around it till you get above it. Now you flatten your hands out so there's no empty spaces. And go up to at least the knee. Now, that's one cycle of vector augmentation, maintenance vector augmentation. Every time you do it, you do 2 cycles. So I'm going to go back down to the second cycle, and I'm going to go all the way back to the heel. I told you there was another reason why the heel is the most important part of your circulation. If you listen to a fluid engineer, A fluid engineer will tell you, now get ready, big, expensive words. Velocity of flow through a closed system is proportional to the force on that system and the angle of flow of that system. Again, you know that. Believe it or not, because all he said was how fast something moves through a tube depends on how hard you push it and how much you bend it. And we've all taken a hose and bent it until the flow stops. The more bend you have, the slower the flow. Okay? Your heel is the only part of your body that has a permanent 90-degree turn. There is no other part of the human body that has a permanent 90-degree turn. This is the slowest place in your whole body for blood to flow. Now, you talk to a fluid engineer, they will also tell you if you speed up blood flow through the slowest part of a system, all flow in that system increases. If you speed up blood flow here, blood flow's got to speed up here. If you speed up blood flow here, blood flow's got to speed up here because they made it flow faster here. It's like, say you got a 3-story building and you go up on the roof of a 3-story building. You got a big long hose and you attach it to a spigot that's on the top of the building and you throw the hose off the side of the building. It goes all the way down to the ground floor. Now, you turn on the spigot, you turn the water on, but somebody on the ground floor grabs the end of the hose and throws their hand real hard on the end of the hose. How much water is coming out the hose?
Some.
Yeah.
Squeezing by, but not much.
Not much. Little to nothing is coming out that hose. But there's also little or no flow on the first floor, little or no flow on the second floor, little or no flow out of the
Stop the
spigot.
flow, yeah.
They take the hand off a little bit, little water's going to skeet off around the side of the hand. There's also going to be a little flow on the first floor, a little flow on the second floor, a little flow out of the spigot. Of course, if they take their hand off all the way, there's going to be a great increase in flow out of the hose. There's going to be a great increase in flow at the first floor, great increase in flow at the second floor, great increase in flow out of the spigot. This is your body's ground floor.
Okay.
You speed up blood flow here, blood flow's got to speed up here because I made it flow faster here. You speed up blood flow here, blood flow has got to speed up there because it's flowing faster here because I made it flow faster here. If you speed up blood flow in your heel, your body's ground floor, every place between this ground floor and your spigot, which is called a heart, has to improve. Laws of fluid dynamics. Now, I'm going to do one other little technique that I kind of like, mainly because people kind of like it. It's called spanking your foot. Okay, how'd that feel? I know. Everybody like their feet spanked. Okay, now, you have just had a maintenance vector augmentation treatment on your bad leg. Now, stop. I want you to feel the difference between the way this foot and leg feel and this foot and leg feel. What's the difference?
It feels cleaner and cooler and more open.
More open, Now, if you feel real close, you can actually feel going through this leg.
And it's okay to yawn.
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to feel an urge to yawn. Because what I've actually did was to take the blood that was in your veins, which has all this carbon dioxide, and push it back into your lungs.
Okay.
You're going to feel the urge to go,
Okay.
and you'll feel the urge to yawn. That's your way of getting rid of extra carbon dioxide. Now, which one of these feel the lightest?
This one.
Because of the blood that I just got moved out with that. Which one feels the strongest?
This one.
Because now these muscles are getting the speed up signal.
Okay.
These haven't. Is this a little difference or a big difference?
Big.
Big difference. Okay. Here's the final question. Which would you rather have two of? Duh.
Let me think.
Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
I think I would rather have two light ones.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I know and I understand. And as I told you before, 133 seconds
Okay.
changes how you function. Problem is, 5 minutes ago you had two like that, and you thought that was normal.
Oh, right.
Now you don't want normal.
Right.
Nobody does.
Yeah, right.
Once they experience what vectoring feels like, oh hell yeah, I want that.
Right.
Ain't no question. It ain't even close. Now let me get your other leg because I don't want you walking around lock-footed.
Thank you.
I don't want you to walk around with good leg, bad leg, good leg, bad leg. Nah. Let me walk around in a circle and wonder what's going on. What's wrong with her? How come she doing that? I don't want that. We get rid of this, and you will function at a higher level of effectiveness throughout your whole body, from your head down to your toes, forever. Now, this needs to be done twice a day, and you can do this yourself. I teach folks how to do this. And again, about noon, 1 o'clock, you need to vector. I will, no matter where I am, it gets to be about 12, 12:30, excuse me, I gotta go to the toilet. And I go to the toilet, sit on the commode, and vector. Because this allows me to function at a higher level of effectiveness. It allows me not to be tired. It allows me not to be sleepy. And I can take this and do it whenever I feel like it. But at least those twice a days, and that is maintenance vector augmentation. Now, this is, as I said, one use of vector augmentation. After I work out or exercise, I'll do it after I work out. That's called post-exertional vector augmentation. You don't get sore, you don't get stiff, you don't get tired. You can do more exercise and build your body up even more. If you have an injury, there is post-traumatic vector augmentation. You speed up your healing by about 12 to 15 times. I, believe it or not, broke my foot when, about a month and a half ago. Yeah.
And it's healed?
Oh, it's totally and completely healed. Total, because I vectored. I vectored 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day. And the healing, boom, boom. Generally, healing is not about getting new material to the area to be put in there. Healing is about taking the damaged material out. And that's, again, veins. And if you increase the veins flow, you increase the rate at which you remove damaged material, and you heal quicker. Okay, now, hold on. Yeah, look at the grin. Yeah, she grin on that. Everybody does that. Now, believe it or not, and I don't want to say this the wrong way, and I don't want you to get the wrong impression. Through this course, we're going to introduce you to feelings that you have never felt before. We're going to introduce you to sensuousness that you have never experienced. Period. Sensations and abilities that you have never known you had, you're going to have them. If the Lord says the same, then the ancestors agree. Okay, ma'am. Now, how your feet feel now? Now, this is the way they're going to feel forever. They're never going to feel the way they felt when you came through that door. Because twice a day, we're going to take care of the blood that gravity has made accumulate. And we'll go on and we'll teach you some other techniques based on vector augmentation. Okay. Any questions?
It was lovely. Thank you. Yeah, I do have one question.
Please question me.
Okay, when you were telling me last week to take the Don Quai and astragalus.
Right.
I don't know. How you say that?
Astragalus.
Astragalus. Okay, you were saying that those were for vitality, so how do
No, ma'am, that's for growing hair.
I mean, you said that was a side effect.
Yes.
But you took it for vitality.
Right.
So how do they, do with this process, or do they?
Yes, ma'am. This helps that.
Okay.
But this helps every process that your body goes through. Everything that your body normally does, it does better, it does more effectively, it does at a higher rate of speed, simply by using this technique. You function better, but you feel better.
Yeah,
you feel like you function better.
Right,
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
And you do.
Okay.
And everything, every chemical, every ingredient, everything that you put in your body now has a greater effectiveness because you change the circulation, you change how it gets in and out of your cells.
Okay. Right. And then the other day when you said you weren't feeling well and you said, I'll give you a few minutes and you went out into the garage and came back. Is this something that you did? And something similar?
Yes,
to
ma'am.
this? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Because I know you said you came back. It's like I feel what?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, 133 seconds.
Right.
133 seconds changes how you function.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, that was it.
All right. Then the third class of the Trideal and Understanding Noetics is over.
Yay.
Peace. Which stand for proper education always corrects error.